Manchester United have made an offer for Burnley midfielder Sander Berge. Fulham have reopened talks with Scott McTominay. Pellistri is in talks to leave. A Casemiro update, plus all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with all the latest. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with Facundo Pellistri. So Fabrizio Romano's come up with an exclusive saying that Panathinaikos are in advanced talks with Manchester United to sign Facundo Pellistri on a permanent transfer, not finalised yet, but negotiations are ongoing as Pellistri could leave Man United in the next days. Then we've had a bit of a domino effect with more kind of credible outlets coming out saying a similar thing. So Steve Rawlinson, who's quite decent when it comes to United news, said that a permanent sale of Pellistri would be United's preferred option because of a need to sell more players this summer to generate funds and operate within PSR rules. Then we've had the Athletic credible source saying Manchester United are holding out for a region of 10 million euros for Facundo Pellistri. And then this next one is a Greek journalist, apparently quite credible, but I don't know that personally, but saying that Manchester United want a big resale percentage of 40 to 50% for Facundo Pellistri. And then we've had Simon Jones from the Mail, credible source, saying that Manchester United are in talks to sell Facundo Pellistri to Panathinaikos for £8.5 million. Other clubs holding interest, no deal agreed yet. So, obviously, he's been one of the players that we've been likely to move on this summer. So I don't think it should come as a massive surprise that we are looking to remove Pellistri. I think he was a very promising player when we signed him. I think he's been a little bit unlucky that he's never been really given a consistent run of games. But there could be a reason for that, though, as well, because when he has played, he's not generally looked like outstanding either. So when he was given his kind of limited opportunities, I don't think that he was, particularly, he didn't do anything of kind of great note to justify staying within the team. He's obviously had a couple of loans as well. And again, I don't think he massively, when Ahmad went to Sunderland on loan, for example, he had an unbelievable season in the Championship, whereas Pellistri on his couple of loans that he's had hasn't exactly set the world on fire either. So all in, it's not a surprise. It's actually a pretty decent fee, I think, for Pellistri as well, because it's around what we paid for him. Was it 3-4 years ago? Sort of maintain a value for a player. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? He's not like he's set the world on fire and we're selling him dead cheap. It's probably about fair for what he is. I like the fact they're putting in a sell-on clause though as well. Again, protecting the fact that if he does go away, does do well, and they do sell him for a little bit more, it's just an extra bit of cash available for United. But looks like Pellistri is going to be moved on. And again, that's more. It's a couple of million in the bank when it comes to PSR rules, which is important, especially the way Ineos are restructuring and doing their kind of finance deals as well. That could be, that could be, it's not a significant sum, but it goes towards bringing in hopefully some more players, which leads me on nicely to the Sander Berge news. So Simon Jones from the Mail said that Manchester United have made an offer for Sander Berge, but are short of Burnley's £30 million valuation, while Ugarte is favoured PSG. While Ugarte is favoured, PSG need to drop their asking price, basically. That was what was said by Simon Jones. Now, Simon Jones is the guy that broke the Branthwaite stories. So he's actually been quite credible this summer. Burnley have not been playing Sander Berge as well due to precautionary, because that they're aware of the interest in him. So there's a few players, isn't there? Ivan Toney brought you that news yesterday. Obviously, we didn't play. Pellistri wasn't in our squad. There's quite a few players around where teams are not playing them because they don't want to risk injury if they're likely to be sold. Jadon Sancho, question mark around that, obviously with links with PSG. Is there something in that potentially? But yeah, I was kind of on this though. I was waiting for like a bit more of a domino effect, because when the Branthwaite news come out, we then had David Ornstein, Romano, Florian Plettenberg, that like the big hitters kind of coming out not long afterwards, kind of confirming the story. And there's not really been much of that with the Sander Berge news, especially with Simon Jones saying that we have made a offer, which was rejected. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more credibility or a little bit more, but that might come out later on today. I mean, the news broke, I think it was like 2-3 hours ago at the time of recording this video. But it hasn't been that kind of domino effect that I was kind of waiting for or expecting, but we'll keep an eye on it. But let me know what you think about that. Sander Berge, I think decent option. I wouldn't want him as a number one midfield choice, but I wouldn't be against it either, especially with the fact that Casemiro's likely to stay. There's an update on him, which I'm going to bring you at the end of the video. Yeah, I'd take it. I would take it. I think he might be one of those kind of players that's better than what people think because of the team that he's been in. He obviously played for Sheffield and then Burnley. And sometimes you are a victim of your circumstances as well. So I hope he's just one that's well thought out, well planned. Like most people or most United fans would never have had Ugarte as their number one midfield target. But the more you research and the more you look into it and you look at the skill set, you kind of think, well, actually, that's a smart move because of his particular skill sets will fit a particular style of play, and I hope Sander Berge is one of those, and could be one of those where they've kind of scouted him and looked at the data and actually thought, well, actually, he can do this specific role within a team and a system, which seems to be the way that Ineos are going down. But I wouldn't be against it. I don't think he's worth £30 million though. I think that Burnley are playing the transfer game, playing the United tax game, so I'd imagine that would maybe be one that gets done closer to the end of the window. Plus, also we'll need to generate some more income as well, which leads me nicely on to the McTominay news. So Sky Sports broke it originally saying that Fulham have reopened talks with Manchester United for Scott McTominay. Fulham were expected to go back into talks, but are now were not expected to go back in for talks, but are now expected to make an improved offer if negotiations go positively. And this was one where, as I mentioned before, with the Sander Berge news, there's been like a snowball effect of a few other people's coming out confirming the news. So Fabrizio Romano saying that Scott McTominay could leave before the end of the transfer window. Man United wants around £30 million. Napoli director was in England to discuss a deal. Napoli was thinking of a loan with an option clause, but United have been clear, permanent transfer only. Fabrizio Romano also said that Fulham's interest in Scott McTominay is still very strong and they're still in conversations. Simon Jones from the Mail said Fulham have revived talks with United over Scott McTominay, but face competition from Napoli, who prefer a loan deal. But obviously Romano said we're not interested in a loan. And The Sun have come out today claiming that Scott McTominay is desperate to remain in the Premier League, with 3 clubs now tracking him: Crystal Palace, Brighton and Fulham, which is the latest update regarding Scott McTominay. It's exactly what we want, I think. A bit of a bidding war going on for McTominay. Obviously, the more heavy noise recently has been Napoli making a loan offer, which was rejected by United because there's no point loaning Scott McTominay out when he's only got a year left on his contract. That's just way too complicated because you have to renew his contract, give him the +1 and all this kind of stuff. But Napoli don't have the funds available to buy McTominay unless they sell Victor Osimhen, which isn't there's no pending sale of him. Either. It was obviously Fulham that have made a bid that's been rejected as well. And now, according to The Sun, who are not the most credible, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always wrong, claiming that Crystal Palace, Brighton are in for him. We know we've got links with the Turkish teams as well, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. There was news before saying that as Everton could be an option as well. So I just think overall, the more teams coming in for Scott McTominay, the better it means, because it means United are going to get closer to that 25 to 30 million pound mark, which is what we want for McTominay. And to be fair, I think that's what McTominay's worth. When you look at some of the prices that players are going for, it's probably about fair market value. If he had more than a year left on his contract, we could potentially be looking at more as well. But I think that does weaken us a little bit because and drop his value slightly. But, I think they'd be decent moves for him, regardless of which one he goes to. Can't really fault McTominay. He's got a decent attitude, fantastic attitude, in fact. Specific skill sets. but I don't think he has the skill sets that's required for United moving forward anymore. As we want to kind of come away from playing park the bus, counter-attacking football, which is where I think McTominay's strengths are at doing that, and specifically being a penalty box player. But yeah, more teams the merrier. Bidding war going on for Scott McTominay, which is only positive because those funds we know are either going to go towards Sander Berge. So maybe that's why, if the story around Sander Berge is to be believed, maybe it's because we now know we're getting genuine interest in McTominay, or we're close to accepting an offer for McTominay maybe. So we're then putting in the bid for Sander Berge, because that's the way Ineos have kind of been doing their deals. It's been like a bit of a like, okay, we'll buy him, you sell him. Do you know what I mean? And waiting for teams to get deals done, or we've been lining up deals or lining up exits to kind of match as well. So hopefully we'll get some more news on that coming up. But I'll bring you any updates. Make sure you subscribe and let me know what you think about McTominay leaving in the comments. Now, there's an update from Fabrizio Romano, which I found quite interesting, regarding Casemiro's, claiming that Casemiro was made available this summer, and there were talks with Al Etihad, but one of the big changes was that the president resigned. So Fabrizio Romano confirming that United were very or likely to be selling Casemiro. Casemiro was in talk with the Saudi Pro League, but they changed president, which is why that kind of deal fell through. And if you remember, there was a lot of noise, obviously, all summer with the Saudi Pro League and then Casemiro. And then we started getting those reports saying that Casemiro was likely to stay. And obviously, he started the season quite well. So I think I can see a situation where either it's going to take a big offer now for United to get rid of Casemiro, even if we got Sander Berge in and Ugarte. It's still difficult for those players to come in and get straight into the team when we're already 3-4 games into the season. So unless I think we get a massive offer for Casemiro, he's more likely to be staying at the moment. But I thought that was really interesting, kind of confirming that actually the stories were true, was very likely to be going to the Saudi Pro League until the change in president, as then kind of obviously move them in a different direction potentially. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then the final quick story I've got for you is regarding Ivan Toney. So Florian Plettenberg has said that Manchester United currently not considering to sign Ivan Toney until deadline day. No approach is planned yet. Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee should play regularly. So Florian Plettenberg kind of saying that, look, the Ivan Toney story, like United are not in for him at the moment. There might be a deadline day deal potentially to be done, which I can't see happening unless we do a mad list, and we do get like a massive bid for Casemiro and we sell that, and then we get the funds and have that sort of that cash injection to go for Ivan Toney. I can't see that deal happening. And to be truthful with you, it would be great to have another striker, but I think we're pretty much covered in that position anyway. I mentioned this yesterday. We've got, Fernandes can play false 9, Mount can play false 9, Rashford can play up front, Zirkzee, Højlund. We've got options in that particular area. I think maybe if we sold Sancho, obviously Pellistri go in, Anthony is still around, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Maybe I wouldn't be against going for like I don't know, someone like a Danielle Malin, is it, that can play left wing, right wing, and up front, like a versatile forward, would maybe be an option. But again, that heavily depends on sales and how much time we've got left, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And that is you all up to date with the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I do enjoy reading them. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next one.